Hello students, so we are going to start our fourth lecture, which is based on determination of natural frequency. Now up till now we have seen the longitudinal vibration, the example of longitudinal vibration, how the determination of natural, how we can find out the natural frequency by various methods. Now same, we have to determine the natural frequency for transverse vibration as well as for torsional vibration. And in this lecture, we are going to see some problems on fundamental of vibration. So this is the fourth lecture of first unit, that is single degree of freedom system free vibration. Now, so up till now we have seen the longitudinal vibration and how the natural frequency of longitudinal vibration is found out or can be found out by using various methods like D'Alembert's principle or equilibrium method. Then second one is your energy method and third one is Rayleigh method. So the second method or second type of vibration, that is called as transverse vibration. So we are seeing undamped free transverse vibration. So we have to find out the natural frequency. So let us consider and transverse vibration of a cantilever beam. Let us consider a transverse vibration of cantilever beam. So this is a cantilever beam. One end of cantilever beam is fixed and in the other end of cantilever beam, the mass is attached to this other end. Now this cantilever beam consider a cantilever beam having negligible mass. So we are not considering this mass of this cantilever carrying or concentrated mass m at free end as shown in figure A. Now this is our mean position, that is the central position, or we can say this position, that is axis of shaft. So this is our mean position. Then after giving some initial displacement delta, we get this is unstrained position and this is mean position. So after giving some initial displacement delta, the cantilever beam goes in mean position. Now if we again at mean position we apply some force, or because of this force the cantilever beam is displaced by its displacement x from mean position to extreme position. Now at equilibrium position, we know that similarly as like longitudinal vibration, there is same, the gravitational force is nullified by the initial spring force, that is K delta, and your gravitational force is mg. So that initial spring force is nullified by gravitational force. So we are neglecting this mg and K delta term because they are nullified. Now if we draw the free body diagram of mass in extreme position, so in that extreme position the motion of body is in downward direction, that is in downward direction. So the displacement x, velocity and acceleration all are in downward direction. So displacement, velocity and acceleration all are in downward direction. So we know that inertia force is opposite to that of inertia acceleration. So the inertia force is mass into acceleration. This is the inertia force. Inertia force is mass into acceleration. So this is inertia force which is opposes the acceleration of the body or motion of the body. So it is upward. And the spring force which opposes the displacement. So the displacement is in downward direction. So spring force is in upward direction. Now what is spring force? Spring force is equal to stiffness into displacement. So this is your spring force. Now, according to the D'Alembert's principle, or according to the equilibrium method, we know that summation of all inertia force plus external force must be 0. Now, there are two forces only. One is inertia force, that is mx double dot, and there is only one external force, that is kx. So, we can write mx double dot plus kx is equals to 0. So, this is your equation of motion for a cantilever beam which carries a mass m in one end. Now, if we divide both sides of the equation by m, so we get x double dot plus k by m into x is equals to 0. So, this is your equation number 1. Now, if we comparing this equation with simple harmonic equation, that is equation of motion of simple harmonic motion. Now, from that, in simple harmonic motion, the equation is x double dot plus omega n square into x is equals to 0. Now, from that, we get the value of omega n. So, what is that value? Omega n square is equals to k by m. So, from that, we can find out the omega n, and the value of circular natural frequency omega n is equal to square root of k by m. Similarly, we can find out the natural frequency, that is Fn is equals to 1 upon 2 pi square root of k by m. That is nothing but the Fn is nothing but the omega n upon 2 pi. And the Tp, that is time period, it is nothing but the reciprocal of frequency. So it is 2 pi square root of m by k. So this is the simple vibration, simple undamped free vibration, undamped free transverse vibration example, that is the cantilever beam. Now, the third type of vibration, that is called as undamped torsional vibration. Now, before going to undamped torsional vibration, we require some basic concept. That is, first one basic concept is your torsional stiffness. Now, in case of longitudinal vibration and the transverse vibration, we use the term stiffness only, that is K. And what is that K? K is nothing but the force per unit deflection, that is Newton per meter. But in case of torsional vibration, there is torsional stiffness. There is torsional stiffness, and this torsional stiffness is denoted by K suffix T, that is KT. So what is torsional stiffness? So we can say, we can define the torsional stiffness as the torsional stiffness of shaft KT is defined as the torque. In case of simple stiffness, there is force. In case of torsional stiffness, there is the term torque. So torque required to produce unit angular deflection. Now, in case of simple stiffness, there is only a deflection. There is no angular deflection. There is only a unit deflection. But in case of torsional vibration, there is torque. The force is replaced by torque, and your linear displacement or linear deflection is replaced by angular deflection. So torsional stiffness of shaft KT is defined as the torque required to produce unit deflection in the direction of applied torque. So this is the definition of torsional vibration. So mathematically, we can write the torsional vibration KT is equals to torque, that is nothing but the T, per unit angular displacement or deflection, that is theta. So the mathematically we can write KT is equals to T by theta, where KT is your torsional stiffness, T is the torque, and theta is the angular deflection. Now in that, if we take the unit of this KT, so it becomes, now unit of torque is Newton meter divided by unit of angle, that is angular deflection, is radian. So Newton meter per radian. Now there is another formula for KT which is defined from torsional formula. Now what is the torsional formula? Torsional formula is T by J is equals to G theta upon L is equals to G theta upon L. So if we require T by theta, so the theta goes to this side and J goes to this side. So we get the value of Kt is equals to, that is T by theta. So we can write from this equation T by theta is equals to, this J term goes to this right hand side. So Gj upon L. So T by theta is nothing but the torsional stiffness. So Kt is equals to Gj upon L. So this is another formula. Now this is the derived formula, but the unit of your torsional stiffness is Newton meter per radian. This is your fundamental formula, and this is your derived from formula, which is from the torsional equation, which is seen in strength of material, that is torsional equation. Now in that, where G is your modulus of rigidity of shaft material. G is modulus of rigidity of shaft material. Now the unit of modulus of rigidity is Newton per meter square. Similarly, capital J is the polar moment of inertia of the shaft, which is given by pi by 32 d raised to 4, and your unit is meter raised to 4. This is your polar moment of inertia. Now generally polar moment of inertia, it is moment of inertia upon the y by 2, y, that is I by y. It is nothing but the polar moment of inertia. So this polar moment of inertia, it is pi by 32 d raised to 4, and small l, or we can say L, is the length of shaft in meter. So this is the torsional stiffness, and D is your diameter. So this is the very important concept before going to the torsional stiffness of the shaft, or torsional vibration of the pre-undamped vibration. So now consider a disc having mass moment of inertia I. Now disc having mass moment of inertia I. What is mass moment of inertia I? One is moment of inertia. Now moment of inertia, it is in I, and it having unit meters raised to 4. But mass moment of inertia, it is nothing but the I is nothing but the mass into radius of gyration. That is generally this mass moment of inertia, it is nothing but the I is equal to mk square. Mk square, where k is the radius of gyration. So consider a disc having mass moment of inertia I, suspended on a shaft with negligible mass. That is shaft having negligible mass. So the shaft, the mass of shaft, it can be neglected. So this is the figure in which there is a disc. So this is the disc. The disc having mass moment of inertia is I. Then D is the diameter of shaft, and this A is the area of, we can say, the A is the one point on mean position, and this is another position if we twisting in clockwise direction. So this is your extreme position, that is A1. This is mean position, this is extreme position, and the disc from A to A1, it is displaced by an angular displacement of theta. When we apply the torque in clockwise direction, we apply the torque in clockwise direction, then the deflection, the angular deflection theta, it is in clockwise direction, and the disc is moved from this A point to A1 point. Now if we consider this A as a mean position, then A1 is your extreme position. Now similarly, in case of linear vibration or transverse vibration, there is inertia force, but in case of torsional vibration, there is inertia torque. Now inertia force is nothing but the mass into acceleration, but the inertia torque is nothing but the mass is replaced by mass moment of inertia, and the acceleration, that is x double dot, is replaced by angular acceleration, that is I theta double dot. So this is called as inertia torque, or we can say this is the inertia torque, that is I into theta double dot. Now consider a figure, that is the disk is moved from A point to A1 point by giving angular displacement theta. So angular displacement theta, or we can say theta dot, that is angular velocity, or theta double dot, it is in clockwise direction. So the angular acceleration, that is theta, theta dot and theta double dot, it is in clockwise direction. So inertia torque, it is opposite to the acceleration, that is opposes the angular acceleration. So it is in anti-clockwise direction. Similarly, the displacement, that is angular displacement of shaft, is in clockwise direction. So the restoring torque, there is spring force now in case of linear vibration, but there is a restoring torque. And what is that restoring torque? It is nothing but the torsional stiffness into angular displacement, that is the torque. Now we know that Kt is equals to T by theta. So from that we can find out T is equals to Kt into theta. So that is nothing but the restoring torque. So which is also opposite to that of the displacement. Now displacement in clockwise direction, so restoring torque is also in anti-clockwise direction. So this is the phenomenon of torsional vibration in case of a disc is attached to a shaft. Now if we consider, so let the theta be the angular displacement of a disc from its mean position, that is angular displacement is there, so the unit of angular displacement is theta, radian. Then m is the mass of disc, k is the radius of gyration of the disc. Now mass of disc is in kg, radius of gyration is in meter. So the mass moment of inertia of the disc is nothing but the I, and that is nothing but the mk square, that is mass into radius of gyration square, and the unit is, the mass unit is kg and the radius of gyration unit is meter, so it is meter square. So kg meter square, it is the mass moment of inertia of the disc. Now next is torsional stiffness. So we know that Kt is the torsional stiffness, and the unit of Kt, it is nothing but the torque per unit angular displacement, that is Newton meter per radian. Now for angular displacement of a disc theta in clockwise direction, the torque acting on the disc are, there are two type of torque. One is inertia torque. What is inertia torque? It is nothing but the mass moment of inertia into angular acceleration. Now it is opposite to that of the acceleration. Now displacement, velocity and acceleration, this all is in clockwise direction, so it is opposite, so it is in anti-clockwise direction. Similarly, restoring torque, it is due to the torsional stiffness of the shaft. Now this restoring torque is nothing but the Kt into theta. It is again opposite to the displacement, so it is anti-clockwise. So according to the D'Alembert's principle or equilibrium method, it is modified slightly as summation, that is algebraic sum of inertia torque plus external torque, it must be equals to 0. So summation of inertia torque and external torque, it must be equals to 0. So inertia torque is I into theta double dot and external torque is Kt into theta. Kt into theta. So if we divide both sides of this equation by I, so we get theta double dot plus Kt upon I into theta is equals to 0. So this is your equation of motion in case of shaft and there is a disc having torsional vibrations. So theta double dot, that is angular acceleration, plus Kt upon I into theta, that is angular displacement, is equals to 0. So if you compare this equation with simple harmonic motion, Now we have to replace x by only theta. That is the linear displacement or simply displacement by angular displacement or angular deflection. So theta double dot plus omega n square theta is equals to 0. So if we compare these two equations, that is equation of motion of a disk and equation of motion of the simple harmonic motion. So if we compare, we get the value of omega n square is equals to kt upon I. That kt upon I. So from that we can find out omega n, and what is the value of that omega n? Omega n is equal to square root of kt upon I. Unit is same, radian per second. So this is the square root of kt upon I. It is the natural frequency in case of torsional vibration. In case of linear vibration, the omega n is square root of k by m. But in case of torsional vibration, k is replaced by kt and your mass is replaced by mass moment of inertia, that is I. So this is the only difference between the linear or longitudinal vibration and linear or transverse vibration and the torsional vibration. So from that we get the circular natural frequency. Now from that we can find out the natural frequency, that is Fn. So Fn is equals to omega n upon 2 pi. So 1 upon 2 pi into omega n, that is kt upon I, square root of kt upon I. So from that the kt upon I, it is nothing but the, now kt is nothing but the gj upon L and I is same. So another formula, that is we get 1 upon 2 pi square root of gj upon I into L. Now this formula is very important, that is kt is nothing but the, there are two formula for kt. So generally we use kt is equals to t by theta, and another formula is kt is equals to gj upon L. So if we put the value of kt as gj upon L, so we get the frequency is 1 upon 2 pi square root of gj upon L into I. And from that we can find out the time period, which is nothing but the reciprocal of the natural frequency. Now what is the time period? Time period is given by Tp is equals to 1 upon Fn, that is nothing but the 2 pi square root of I upon kt. This is time period is in sec. So this is the only difference between the linear vibration. So linear vibration means longitudinal and transverse, and the torsional vibration, that is nothing but the third type of vibration. Now this is all about the methods which are required for determination of natural frequencies. So there are three methods, that is one equilibrium method, energy method, and your relay method. And your three types of vibration based on axis of the motion. So that is longitudinal vibration, transverse vibration, and torsional vibration. So this is all about free undamped vibration. So next we are going to take one of the example based on fundamental of vibration. Now there is an example. A spring mass system has stiffness, that is has spring stiffness K, and it is in Newton per meter, and mass M, it is in kg. Now it has natural frequency of 12 Hertz. When a spring mass system is there, and at that spring mass system having spring has spring stiffness of K Newton meter and mass of M kg. And for that system the natural frequency is given, it is 12 Hertz. Now if we attach extra mass of 2 kg, if we attach the extra mass of 2 kg to the previous mass, now previous mass is your M, now we have to attach the extra mass, that is M plus 2. So its natural frequency is reduced by 2 Hertz. So first natural frequency is 12 Hertz. So after attaching the extra mass of 2 kg, its natural frequency is reduced by 2 Hertz. Means for second condition the natural frequency is 10 Hertz. We have to find out the stiffness and mass. Now there is, for spring mass system, the natural frequency of spring mass system is given by Fn is equals to 1 upon 2 pi square root of k by m. Now first condition, in first condition, the frequency, natural frequency is 12 hertz. So the natural frequency is hertz is given. So we have to use the formula of Fn. If the natural frequency is given in radian per second, then you have to use the formula of omega n. So it has a natural frequency of 12 hertz. So Fn is given 12 hertz, 1 upon 2 pi, and it has stiffness k and mass m. So same. So 12 is equals to 1 upon 2 pi square root of k by m. So we get 12 into 2 pi square root of k by m. And if we remove the square root, so we get the value of k in terms of m. That is, this goes, m goes to this side after squaring. So we get the value of k is equals to 5684.89 m is nothing but the value of k. So this is the only first case. Now in second case, what is happened? The extra mass is given. What is extra mass is given of 2 kg, and the natural frequency is reduced by 2 hertz. So in first case the natural frequency is 12 hertz, so it reduced by 2 hertz, so it becomes 10 hertz. So for second case, your natural frequency is 10 hertz. Your natural frequency is 10 hertz. Now formula is same, 1 upon 2 pi k, but mass is replaced by, because extra 2 kg mass is attached, so m plus 2. So again 10 into 2 pi and squaring of this, so we get the equation like this. This 2 pi goes to this side, so 10 into 2 pi, and both side if we squaring, so we get the value of k. So what is the value of k? That 3947.84 into m plus 7895.68 k. Now this is equation number 1, this is equation number 2. So put the value of k is equals to 5684.89 m in this equation, in equation number 2. So we, from equation 1 and 2, we get the mass. So that mass is 4.54 kg. And if we put the value of m 4.54 to equation number 1, or we can say equation number 2, we get the value of k as 25,840.40 Newton meter. So this is a simple problem where we have to find out the mass and stiffness, and there are 2 conditions is given. One condition is there is simply a stiffness k and mass m, and it has a natural frequency of 12 hertz, and extra mass of 2 kg is coupled to that mass, so natural frequency is reduced by 2 hertz. We have to find out k and m. So this is the only simple problem. So we will see the next problem. So let's start with example 2. That is, a truck is weighing 150 kilonewton and traveling at a speed of 2 meters per second, which imparts with a buffer spring which compresses 1.25 centimeter per 10 kilometers. Then what will be the compression of spring? So solution, we know that the spring force is nullified by gravitational force. So we know that mg is equals to k delta. Now the value of k is unknown to you. Now the value of delta, that is deflection of spring, is given, that is 1.25 centimeter. So we have to convert that 1.25 centimeter into meter. So that becomes k into 0.0125 is equals to the force is given, that is 10 kilonewton. So 10 into 10 raised to 3. 9.81 ची काही गरज नाही. So 10 into 10 raised to 3. Now from that we have to find out the value of k. We have to find out the value of k. Now, according to the Rayleigh method, we know that maximum kinetic energy is equals to maximum potential energy. Now, what is kinetic energy? 1/2 m into v square into 1/2 kx square. It is the maximum potential energy. Now, put the value 1/2. Now, mass is, the weight is given. So, mass is 1 into 50 into 10 raised to 3. 150 into 10 raised to 3 divided by 9.81 into 2, that is the velocity is 2 meter per second. So 2 into 2 square is equals to 1/2 into this, the value of k, put it this equation, and x square. Now from that we have to find out the value of x. So that value of x is coming after calculation, it comes to the, that is the value of x is equals to 7.64 centimeter, or we can say 0.0764 in meter, or 7.64 centimeter. So this is the example, only simple. There is only two formula is required, that is mg is equals to k delta. From that we have to find out the value of k, that is stiffness. And second one is, according to the Rayleigh method, the maximum kinetic energy is equals to maximum potential energy. Now from that we have to find out the value of x, that is the spring stiffness, and that the value of spring stiffness becomes x is equals to 1.64 centimeter. Now we will see the next problem, that is example 3. Now a spring mass system is there. In that spring mass system, a mass m is given in kg and stiffness k is in Newton per meter. A spring mass system is given in a problem. Now in that problem there is mass m and stiffness k is given. Now the mass having unit of kg and the stiffness is given in Newton per meter, and it has a natural frequency of f hertz. It has a natural frequency of f hertz. Now determine the value of stiffness k1. That is, another system is given. In that the spring stiffness k1 is in conjunction or arranged in series with the previous system, that is only spring mass system. So determine the value of stiffness k1 of another spring which when arranged in conjunction or in series with the spring stiffness of k will lower the natural frequency by 20%. So if the frequency in first case is f, the frequency after the adding another spring of stiffness k1 in series with k, the natural frequency is reduced by 20%. So we'll take the solution. So consider a first case. Now what is your first case? There is only one spring and one mass, and let assume the natural frequency in first case is 1 hertz, because it is given in f hertz. So we have assumed this as a 1 hertz. What is the natural frequency formula? So natural frequency of simple spring mass system is given by Fn is equals to 1/2 pi square root of k by m. So this 2 pi and Fn, the value of Fn is 1. This 2 pi, it is in right side, right? It goes to the left hand side, which is 1 into 2 pi is equal to square root of k by m. So by squaring this equation, so we get 1 into 4 pi square into m is equal to k. So this is the first equation. So from first case we have to find out the value of. Again I will explain. So consider a first case. So in first case there is only one spring having stiffness k, and only one mass of unit kg. Now assume the frequency f is equals to 1 hertz. The frequency f is equals to 1 hertz. Now we know that the frequency of simple spring mass system is given by Fn is equals to 1 upon 2 pi square root of k by m. Now we know that the term Fn, the value of frequency is given 1 into 1 upon 2 pi in right hand second is into 2 pi. So 1 into 2 pi is equal to square root of k by m. So while squaring this term, so we get 1 into 4 pi square into k by m. Now m going to this side. So it becomes 1 into 4 pi square into m is equals to k. So this is the first equation. Now consider a second case. Now what is second case? The frequency is reduced by 20%. So in second case frequency becomes, now in first case the frequency is 1 hertz and the frequency is reduced by 20%. So 0.2 hertz frequency get reduced. 0.20, that is 20%. So what is the frequency in second case? It is 0.80. So Fn is equals to 1 upon 2 pi square root of k by m. Now in that condition there are two springs, so we require the equivalent spring stiffness to be taken instead of only a spring stiffness. So it is Fn, the value of Fn is 0.80 is equals to 1 upon 2 pi into square root of k upon m. Now by squaring we get 0.64 into 4 pi square into m is equals to k. Now divide equation 1 by 2. Divide equation 1 by 2. So if we divide equation 1 by 2, so we get, now 4 pi square, m get cancelled. So 1 upon 64. 1 upon 0.64. This is in left hand side. Right hand side la kya aseल? That is k upon ke. Now from that we can find out the value of k. So what is that value? K is equals to, now cross multiplication. So k into 1 is k and 0.64 into k. So 0.64 k. So this is becomes the value of k. So what is the value of k? It is 0.64 k. Now we know that the equivalent stiffness, it is nothing but the, now take a diagram. So we get that idea. So there are two springs which are in series. So 1 upon k, that is equivalent spring stiffness. So 1 upon k is equals to 1 upon k is equals to 1 upon k, that is reciprocal of first plus sum of reciprocal of second. So 1 upon k plus 1 upon k1. So what is the value of k? 1 upon 0.64 k is equals to 1 upon k plus 1 upon k1. So from that we have to find out the value. So 1 upon k is equals to 1 upon k plus 1 upon k1. So what is the value of k? 1 upon 0.64 k plus 1 upon 0.64 k is equals to 1 upon k plus 1 upon k1. So from that we can find out the value of k1 as k is equals to 0.56. So this is the simple problem. Now the next problem is there, that is 4 is there. In that it is given, there is a figure is given in the problem. So for the mathematical model as shown in figure, that is as shown in below figure, determine the equivalent stiffness and natural frequency of the system. So there are total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So total there are 7 springs are given, and all these 7 springs having same stiffness as K. And in problem it is given that the value of K is given as 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter, and the value of mass is given as 20 kg. So total there are 7 springs. Now the spring number 1 and spring number 2, both springs are in parallel. That is, spring number 1 having stiffness K and spring number 2 having stiffness K, both are in parallel. So parallel means there is addition of this stiffness of these two. So K plus K, that becomes 2K. K plus K, that becomes 2K. So in next diagram, so 2K, it is the addition of 1 plus 2 spring. This is third spring, and this is addition of 1 plus 2. This is third, fourth, this is fifth, this is sixth, and seventh. Now again, this 2K and third spring having stiffness K is in series. So in series we have to use this formula, 1 upon K is equals to 1 upon 2K plus 1 upon K. Now after calculation we get the value of K is equals to 2K by 3. Now this 2K by 3 and fourth number spring is in parallel. This fourth, this is fifth, this is sixth and seventh. So 2K by 3 and fourth number spring are in parallel. So 2K by 3 plus K, it is becomes 5K by 3. So again 5K by 3 and the 5 number spring. So this is 5 number spring, this is 6 and this is 7. So 5K by 3 and 5 number spring having stiffness K, these are in series. So again we have to use this formula, 1 upon K is equals to 1 upon K1 plus 1 upon K2. So 1 upon K is equals to 1 upon 5K by 3 plus 1 upon K. So after calculation we get the equivalent spring stiffness K is equals to 5K by 8. Now this 5K by 8 and 6 number spring are in parallel. So 5K by 8 plus K. So that becomes 13K by 8. So that becomes the 13K by 8. So 13K by 8 and this 7 number spring are in series. So again 1 upon K is equals to 1 upon 13K by 8 plus 1 upon K. So after calculation we get equivalent stiffness K is equals to 13K by 21. So this is the equivalent system having spring stiffness K is equals to 13K by 21. Now we know that the natural frequency of system is Fn is equals to 1 upon 2 pi square root of K by M. We know that the natural frequency of simple spring mass system is Fn is equals to 1 upon 2 pi square root of K by M. So we have to replace this original K by K because it is equivalent system. We are using equivalent system. So put the value of K as 13K by 21. So 1 upon 2 pi 13K by 21 divided by M. So that becomes 1 upon 2 pi 13. Now the value of K is given 2 into 10 raised to 5 divided by 21 into the value of EM is given 20. So from that, we are going to find out the value of natural frequency, and the value of natural frequency is coming to at 12.52 hertz because we use Fn. If we are going to use omega n, then that value is in radian per second. So this is the some example which are related to the fundamentals of vibrations. Fundamentals of vibrations. So we have seen total 4 examples related to fundamentals of vibration and some fundamental related to free undamped vibration. So in this lecture, we have seen the various method to determination of natural frequency in transverse vibration and in torsional vibration, and the problems of the fundamental vibration or fundamentals of free undamped vibration. So from that, I will end my today's lecture. Thank you.